presidential candidate, Senator Ted Cruz, right now, joining us on the telephone. And, Senator, it is good to have you on the program. Thanks very much for calling in.
Well, good morning, Maria. It's great to be with you.
Your thoughts on these protesters, not sure if you could see these pictures, but the Black Lives Matter group has chained themselves to make sure that they are in the way for anybody trying to get into the protest, to the inauguration, rather.
Well, I think it's unfortunate. A lot of folks on the far left, and for that matter, a lot of elected Democrats are angry at the American people for the election results. They're angry at the voters, and they're doing everything they can to disrupt, to obstruct, and I think that's unfortunate. The American people in November gave a very clear mandate for change, that the Obama economy isn't working, and we want more freedom, more jobs, higher wages, and I think it's unfortunate to see those on the left who are just angry about that.
Should this be something that tells us of what's to come in terms of Donald Trump trying to get work done? I mean, obviously, Americans want to see tax reform, a rollback of regulations. They want to see the work that Donald Trump promised, and they want to see that executed. If they're pushing back, these 68 Democrats boycotting the inauguration, should we expect that they are going to try to get in front of legislation and stop it from happening?
Well, I think they'll certainly try. But that being said, we have the opportunity in front of us to do an enormous amount of good. We have the opportunity for this to be the most productive Congress in decades. And we're going to move quickly. I think every one of President Trump's cabinet nominees is going to get confirmed through the Senate. The Democrats may try to obstruct, but they don't have the votes to do that. I think we're going to confirm the entire cabinet. And then I expect the new administration is going to move quite quickly on regulatory reform, on lifting many of the burdens that are killing jobs, that are hammering the energy industry, that are hammering small business. In Congress, we're going to repeal Obamacare. And we can do that without the Democrats being able to filibuster it. I believe we're also going to confirm a strong conservative Supreme Court justice. And this summer or fall, it's our intention to use budget reconciliation to pass tax reform, to dramatically simplify the tax code and lessen the burdens on job creators. And once again, Democrats may try to block it, but they're not going to be able to. They don't have the votes.
Senator Scott Brown here. How are you?
Hey, Scott. How are you doing? Wish you were with us.
Yeah, thank you. Listen, first of all, I want to thank you for your effort during the election. You really fought to the end, and people appreciate not only what you did, but they're very appreciative now about how you're stepping back, you're taking it all in. And the question that I get regularly from a lot of my friends and supporters you met in New Hampshire is what's Ted's role? What role do you think you would like to play and are going to play in the Senate right now to help really make this country great again and move forward that agenda that you just referenced?
Well, Scott, I'm very excited and energized about where we are. I think the opportunity we have to dramatically reduce the burdens on job creators and to spur economic growth, to spur opportunity for people who are struggling, I think it is historic. And so what I told President Trump the week after the election, I went to New York, sat down with him at Trump Tower, and I told him at the time that I wanted to help lead the fight to actually deliver on what we promised, that we've been given something very rare in history, which is Republican control of the White House, of every executive branch, and of both houses of Congress. And at this point, we don't have any excuses left. We've got to deliver, and I am excited to be able to roll up my sleeves and get to work with the new administration, the new cabinet, and work on turning this country around and bringing back jobs, defending our freedom, and keeping this country safe.
And Senator, it's Dagan McDowell. Will that change the mood in this country? As we watch these, you know, if you start lifting up all people financially, economically, will that change some of the anger that we're witnessing today here in Washington?
Absolutely. And I think this anger is confined to the far left and to, unfortunately, some elected Democrats. You know, some of these protesters we've seen may well be paid protesters by George Soros or others. I mean, there's going to be, in the far left, the lesson they've taken from this election is that they've been even more radicalized. They've taken the lesson that Hillary was too moderate, and they need more Bernie Sanders, they need more Elizabeth Warren. I hope that there are other elected Democrats who take a different message, a message that after 8 years of a White House refusing to work with Congress, after 8 years of a White House jamming down failed policies that have hurt working men and women, it's time to change path. This was an election that was dictated by the working men and women, by steel workers and plumbers and truck drivers and school teachers and the people who have just been hammered by the failed economy. And we need a Congress that hears that message and that responds accordingly.
Yeah, for sure. Senator, real quick, did you say that you're expecting to do tax reform through reconciliation in the fall of this year?
That's correct. And for those who haven't spent time worrying about Senate procedural minutia, generally speaking, the Democrats are able to filibuster legislation. But there is an exception to that, and the process is called budget reconciliation, and that allows you to pass legislation with only 51 votes instead of 60. We are in the middle of budget reconciliation right now, and we are using that as the vehicle to repeal Obamacare. That's how the Democrats passed Obamacare. Scott remembers it well. It was right when he arrived.
That's right.
And we're going to use reconciliation to undo the damage of Obamacare. Okay. And then later this summer or fall, we're going to do a second budget reconciliation, and that is intended right now to be the vehicle for hopefully really meaningful and impactful tax reform.
And that would be retroactive to the beginning of the year.
You know, the timing of when it would hit, whether it was for 17 or 18, I'm sure that will be a topic of debate.
Senator, good to have you on the program. Thanks very much.
Go get him, Ted.
Great to be with you.